Hey guys, what it is your girl Cadillac. I am coming through on the 31st day of Vlogmas. We're done. Like it's over. Well, not really, because I got a lot of videos that I recorded and I never got to finish editing and get out to you. So they're not done, but I made it through the challenge. I just about, is this dog who barked the whole time now? I made it through just about all the days of Vlogmas and daily vlogged for you guys. Why is my computer overheating? Oh, okay, let me move that away from that. I don't want to hear that little sound. Okay, so let me quickly, guys. Dang, you can hear that. Let me see. I don't like this. Hold on. Okay, let's hurry up because, this is not working. My laptop was overheating, so now I'm on my phone. I just want to read to you guys what I was doing. This is my first day, like basically being free from work, from my regular purpose in life, working, like work. And now I'm finally able to reach out to that lawyer that I think really 2 weeks ago I was supposed to reach out to them. So I kind of just want to run this story by you guys to so you can give me feedback. Like, does this sound compelling? Is it because I know that y'all are real with me? Because I'm trying to plead Marcello's case, and I don't know, by it being like complete silence and I don't get a lot of feedback, I don't know how I'm doing. Like, I don't know if I'm doing good, if I'm doing bad, or whatever. But first, welcome to everyone, new subscribers. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. From Ashley Says So. You, this is crazy. Y'all know that Ashley Says So had mentioned my cousin, and somebody now has subscribed here. Thank you so much for coming over, checking me out, checking my cousin out. Um, Thank you so much. I, on my channel, am trying to free my husband who's wrongfully convicted. My cousin on his channel, he is trying to bring awareness to being blind. Being blind stops nothing. And he's also on um, dialysis, and he's trying to raise money for, his kidney. What do you call that thing? A kidney. Oh, transplant for that. Couldn't think of what it was called. Okay, so that's the reasons we kind of do our YouTubes, to bring awareness to certain situations. I am the legally blind artist that is rapping and painting for justice. I am hoping to see justice before it all fades to black. Here, hiss your girl Cadillac. So quickly, I want to read to you the email that I do have for that I'm going to send out to the lawyers. And I just want to know, does it sound compelling? Would it be something that if you read, would you be willing to help us? Okay, here it is. Okay. I am the wife of Marcello Jackson, a man that was wrongfully convicted and excessively sentenced in the state of Florida. He was only 19 years old. Our daughter was only 2 months old when my husband and her father was wrongfully accused and snatched from our family. In 2002, when he was only 20 years old, he lost trial. I have been fighting tirelessly for my husband to return home ever since he was taken 20 years ago. Our daughter was just 9 months old at the time. She is now 20 years old. Due to this injustice, he missed her entire life, from first step to first words, to prom, to high school graduation, to tech school graduation, and is scheduled to miss her college graduation next year. We are also expecting our first grandchild, and it is so crazy that my husband and her father won't be reunited with us until our unborn grandchild is almost grown. We have kept our family together through expensive travel and lodging all over the state of Florida, and also with very expensive phone calls. On her big day, all I can do is JPay email him a picture. Our family has been destroyed, and for what? Okay. My husband was arrested and convicted without any evidence, no fingerprints, no DNA, no witnesses, and not even a weapon that they claimed that he used. They never recovered the alleged weapon. If there was a weapon, that would be impossible to not have recovered it because my husband never left the perimeters of the crime scene. So if he in fact had a weapon, how was it never recovered? But they still charged him with having a weapon. Nobody was killed, shot, hurt in any way. The weapon was never even said to have been fired as well. The weapon is just hearsay, but is what is holding so much weight in my husband's case and is what has got him so much time. During Marcello's case, my husband was denied surveillance cameras that would have proven his whereabouts. My husband asked for the surveillance cameras to in the parking lot of the club. The club was the alleged crime scene of the robbery to prove he was not there. Marcello's lawyer lied and said that the club/hotel did not have surveillance cameras. When in fact, I found a news article about a different robbery that took place in the same parking lot. And in the article, they said that the police found their suspect by pulling the surveillance cameras in the parking lot. So, why did they lie to Marcello and say that there wasn't any cameras? In fact, my husband's own lawyer diligently worked against him to make sure his own client would be convicted. My husband is accused of robbery and a slew of other charges that are related to the robbery. The people that were claiming to be robbed wrote in an initial report stating that Marcello robbed a certain amount of money from them. And when the police checked Marcello's person and found that he had a different amount of money on him, the police went back and told the two guys that they were able to cross out that initial amount they wrote was robbed from them and write in the new amount. That was just one issue where discrepancies dealing with the alleged people that were robbed. The trial transcript is filled with instances of the alleged victims lying under oath and then changing their statements. Also, the police lied and said that they seen the vehicle that Marcello was in the parking lot leave the club shortly before they attempted to pull the car over. Want to know how I know that is a lie? Well, no one could see because the way the road is, it shifts over. Where the cops said that they were, there is no possible way to see that the car exited. See that car exit because no one, I'm sorry, I messed up right there. Exit because one, it's too far, and two, because the road shifts. Trees obstruct the view of the entrance way to the parking lot. So, how did the police see that? The whole entire case makes no sense. And when the case went to trial, nobody but my husband and myself showed up to court. The alleged victims ran off to two different states far away from Florida and did not show up to court. Instead of dropping the charges against my husband because there was nobody to press the charges against him, the judge allowed the case to be continued. That is when Marcello's public defender said that he is going to go out of town to try to subpoena in person the victims to come to court because if they did not show up a second time to the new trial date, all charges against Marcello would have to be dropped. Instead of Marcello's own lawyer allowing the case to play out and just let them not show up to court, he decided he could not do that. He had already sent out 3 subpoenas. I do have copies of those subpoenas for each of them to come to court. And they had each denied each of them 3 times. To ensure that they would not deny the last one, Marcello's lawyer asked for money from the court for lodging and travel to 2 different states to subpoena the alleged victims in person. They were forced to come to court. I also do my own research. I proved that the police that was in the case had changed the setting of the alleged crime scene and to make it coincide with the alleged victims' accounts, what they were saying about being robbed. Through my research of the crime scene, there is no way the police, what they said is true. There's no way what the police said is true. In fact, the same arresting officer, I found another case where they alleged that somebody did a similar robbery, carjacking, and the police shot the person that they dropped to the ground. The suspect then raised their hand and, after being on the ground, continued to shoot at them. That's how they justify shooting the suspect 51 times. And then when questioned about why the excessive force and unnecessary loss of life, the same arresting officer plus 4 other officers all had different accounts of why that occurred. It was said that their statements were very disharmonious. And that is exactly true in the case of my husband as well. That same officer plus 2 others had very disharmonious statements. In fact, none of them aligned with one another and what happened that night. Also, my husband then was not even the driver of the vehicle. He was just a passenger in the vehicle. The car, it is said that the driver, who was in fact my husband's cousin, jumped out the car and ran. In the transcripts during trial, it is said that the cousin ran and was able to get away from the police dogs, the helicopter, the perimeter search, the police officers chasing him. I in no way believe that that first person got away. There is no possible way that he got away from the scene. But I do believe that he in some way had immunity and was never brought up on charges in this case. This case is actually his doing. The case is not really a robbery, carjacking, kidnapping. The case is in fact an attempted drug deal that never was completed because the car got pulled over by the police. Instead of his cousin, the driver, pulling over, and instead of stopping the car when the police tried to pull them over, his cousin, the driver, sped off on a high-speed chase. It's most likely you gonna keep in the background. Okay. My husband, in fact, had no priors at all. My husband was picked up by his cousin walking from the store, and seconds after getting in the car with his cousin runs the stop signs and runs off on this high-speed chase, evading the police and then going around the block and ditching the car in a dead end, jumping out the car, running, leaving my husband and the 2 guys he was taking into the hood to get drugs in the car. When the police approached the stopped vehicle, my husband walked up to the police and tried to explain that he didn't know what was going on and that he didn't have any time. And that he didn't have anything to do with it. They put him on the ground and he has been in jail and in prison ever since. I wish I could fully explain this story to you. I am disabled though, and it is very difficult for me to type. So I do have some links to videos that I have that explain more in depth my husband's case. Also, my husband has researched and found information about the robbery statute in Florida being illegal. We also have some reason to believe that my husband has an illegal sentence and was over sentenced. We truly feel like the judge was just throwing the book at him. 1, for taking his case to trial, and 2, to make an example of him because shortly after his judge moved up to Supreme Court judge. All right, guys, despite my ability to fluidly read this to you. How does that sound? Does it sound compelling? Does it sound convincing? All in all, this case that they made up to be is not even what it was. My husband was picked up. My husband went to a corner store, a 7-Eleven. He walked up there on his way back from walking, and this is a very small neighborhood. On his way back, walking to his cousin's house where he resided, another cousin came by and was like, "Hey, do you want a ride?" He jumped in the car with him, thinking he's just getting dropped off to his cousin's house where he lived. And instead, this all happened seconds after he gets in the car. Seconds after he gets in the car. If Marcello had just completed his walk, maybe a 10-minute walk, it could have saved him 20 years of his life. It could have meant that our daughter would have been able to grow up with a father in her life. It could have meant that I wouldn't have been a single mother struggling for the last 20 years of my life to make ends meet and to bring our family up out of the dirt. None of this should be. And the other person is not even in jail. This crime never even happened. But yet, my husband is serving a 40-year sentence. No fingerprints, no DNA, no weapon that you claim he had. Weapon is hearsay. There is no possible way that if Marcello had a weapon, the weapon would not be found. Because when that car was stopped, Marcello was right in place, right there. He never moved. He never left their crime scene. So how could he have rid a gun, a weapon? How could he have gotten rid of it? How? If it was there, how did he get rid of it? He has to be some type of Spider-Man or superhero or something. Or maybe the ground just opened up and disintegrated. Or no, the weapon disintegrated. He made it invisible. Maybe he was like the Invisible Man. And you know how the Invisible Man put on that suit. Maybe he was able to put something like that on the weapon where he could make it invisible. Or the ground just shifted and it parted ways. And it if there was a weapon, there's no way it wouldn't have been recovered. You can't just say, oh, there was a weapon, but we never found it, so that you can still charge him with it. That's what they're doing. And that's what's sticking. This is why I need your help. This is why I need your help. It makes no sense. How do you charge somebody with something you don't have? But they did it. And it's sticking and it's there because nobody knows this story. Oh, I'm so sorry for this emotion, but it really just pisses me off every time. That's why I try not to get into his case, because every time I dive into his case, it is an emotional experience because they got this down on paper as one thing, but it's really something else. Those guys were trying to go and get high so that they can go to the club. And on their way to getting taken in the hood to go get high, Marcello was picked up and was supposed to be dropped off on the way. And instead, the police proceeded to pull them over for running a stop sign. Instead of the cousin pulling over, the cousin sped stopped in a dead end, jumped out the car and ran. That is what it is. Nobody was shot. Nobody was killed. Nobody was hurt. But who was hurt was our family was hurt. Our family was destroyed behind this. Oh my God, I'm so sorry for the emotion. But, anyways, if there's any feedback on maybe how I could reword this, or what can I do to make this compelling to another? Like, what do I do? Because, guys, I'm out of answers. This is New Year's Eve, and I'm I'm going into another year needlessly fighting for my husband, needlessly fighting for our family. When, time's going to be up. Time is going to be up. My life does not stop, right? I only had so many years on this planet, and the time is still ticking. So instead of us living our life as a family, I'm living my life fighting to hopefully one day be a family. Like, please just help us be a family. Please help me lift this burden off of me. This is truly a burden. Just as Marcello was wrongfully convicted and is excessively sentenced, I have been. I don't know how to leave this situation. I am very much affected by this. My life has been destroyed behind this. I beg you guys to please help me. Help me bring him home. Thank you guys. It's your girl Cadillac.